Hello, friends. My name is Charmaine from Two Witch Isle, and this is another Witches Cauldron. Today, I had some unexpected changes to my schedule, which sometimes used to throw me way off balance if something changed last minute. And today, I'm not going to allow that a last minute change to throw my whole day off. Instead, I said, well, if my group therapy is canceled, then I'm going to make a video. And so today, I wanted to make a video on something that I've noticed a lot of lately, and I've noticed it in myself too. A little bit more accepting now than I used to be. However, I want to read you this thing that I've seen floating around the internet. I've probably posted it to my own Facebook page because I'm still having problems with the other one. Um, but it said this. If you are serious about change, you have to go through uncomfortable situations. Stop trying to dodge the process. It's the only way to grow. And after reading that and posting it and then seeing it several other places because other people have posted it too since then, I kind of been sitting with it and it is so true. As humans, we get uncomfortable when things change, but change is how we grow and actually become happy because overcoming obstacles is what eventually leads to happiness, which is you overcoming some change that needs to occur. It's kind of a weird sort of these things don't go together, but they really, really do. Being humans, change is a big part of what we need to grow and be happy. And it involves becoming uncomfortable on purpose sometimes, as I've discovered with my own healing process, because healing is taking a very long time, but also it's a very long process of making small changes that in turn over time become bigger changes. But when you're in the midst of crisis because of your trauma, it is very hard to make that all make sense when all you can think is survival. And I get now why I needed all the therapy. But anyway, back to the topic at hand, that pesky change. Um, and the thing is with change, we as humans tend to get stuck in an idea or a belief about ourselves or the world around us that could ultimately hurt us long run if it's a belief that only served us when we were young or when we were surviving a trauma. In crisis, we are so close on what needs to happen or what needs to change, not necessarily what needs to happen, but what needs to change, that we do not see all the possibilities of how things can change. With change being uncomfortable, and with us as humans not liking being uncomfortable, we tend to focus on the things nearest to us and not so much all of the possibilities, because there are so many paths and possibilities and choices of 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 directions to grow. I'm thrown off by the cat. I apologize. It involves being uncomfortable on purpose. Uncomfortable on purpose is super hard. Because none of us like to be uncomfortable, none of us like to be sad, none of us like to be angry, none of us like those negative emotions. However, those negative emotions are very much what help us move and grow throughout life. A negative emotion will tell us we don't like this, and so we make a few changes so that we don't have to deal with this anymore. That's what we as humans need to grow and change. That grow and change is part of what life is. And I think that if we all get used to the fact that everything's going to change eventually, I mean, look, if you're listening to this, look at the age you are now and look at how you've changed since you were younger. And it doesn't even have to be that much younger, say 5 years younger, 10 years younger. That's there's a lot of change that occurs throughout life, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant. And we have to remember that sometimes unpleasant change is going to happen. And if we're ready to roll with those punches, knowing that this is just going to be that portion of life for me, oh, changed and it's uncomfortable. Yeah, this is going to happen. So I'm going to grow here in a minute. If we could have that in our heads instead of always going, oh my God, this is the worst thing in the world that could happen. Because if you're always thinking this is the worst thing in the world that could happen, then more worse things in the world are going to happen to you because that's what you're focusing on is the worst thing in the world. I'm reading a book right now that I am going to review here in a bit that uses the analogy of, if you're skiing down a mountain and you're thinking, don't hit a tree, don't hit a tree, don't hit a tree, well, then all you're going to see is trees. But if you're skiing down the mountain looking for the path, then you're going to see openings in the trees, the path in the trees, not the trees. And if we could focus our lives on the fact that sometimes our life is going to be uncomfortable, times are going to get uncomfortable. We're going to lose people. Um, Financial situations come up. There's so many things that happen that change that if we just realize that, change is a part of it, but if we're looking for new paths and new choices to take, then maybe we will be going in the direction that we want to go moving forward. Because I know as a trauma survivor, I have gotten very comfortable in the past just making the same choices over and over again, but they don't serve me anymore. And I needed to change and make different choices. Well, that's a lot harder done than it is said. It is so much easier to just say, oh, I'll just change that about myself than actually making that change. I am still trying to get myself to be an exercising person, at least minimal exercises, stretching in the morning, calisthenics, something to just keep my muscles loosey goosey, and my joints. However, every day I tell myself this is the day I'm going to start. And then every day I wake up and go, yeah, this is not the day I'm going to start. And the funny thing is once you make those changes, they become very fluid and for me, exercising makes my joints feel a lot better. So all I need to do is get up and do it, except it's the pain of me not doing it that's keeping me in bed. It's a little ironic twist of fate. To heal from trauma, you have to be uncomfortable on purpose sometimes, which makes trauma healing so hard. But just because life is uncomfortable sometimes doesn't mean there are thousands of choices out there to take you to a place that is better. And sometimes it is making an immediate decision, and sometimes it is a little bit of distraction until you can become a little less emotionally triggered to make a decision on whatever is going on around you. Just know that it is an easy process, this growing and healing. And I am no expert. I just know what has worked for me, and I hope that it works for you. As always, take what resonates and leave the rest behind. Thank you for joining me on this Witches Cauldron. Until next time, light and love, friends.